Number one fault in psychotherapy: there is no archetypal ideal. We're not supposed to push people towards outcomes. That is just bad therapy. I mean, it's just not, that's not what you're supposed to do. If you take a psychoanalytic approach and it's quite dry, you're supposed to lead people to truth or lead people to insight, but you're not supposed to say to people, yeah, you should get married and have kids, or you shouldn't take that job, or you shouldn't take drugs, or, you know, you're supposed to lead them to a point where they can come to their own revelations. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm not saying that's where the fault is. I'm saying here, I'm going to tell you what the fault is now. So number one, there's no ideological direction. Is that good or bad? I'm not saying it's bad. The second part is bad. We claim that there's no ideological direction. Maybe there should be, maybe there shouldn't be. There's something for another video. But there is. So number one, psychotherapy. Is there an ideological push? Are you ever told how to live your life? Not really. Like, you're not supposed to. I mean, somebody smart in the comments will be like, actually, there's a school of psychotherapy that tells you how to live your life. I doubt it. I've always said, when people ask me questions like that, I'm like, I'm not a priest. I can't tell you how to live. I don't know how to live. I don't even know how to live my life. How am I supposed to know you're supposed to live yours? But that's one problem. The second problem is that the second problem is twofold. So the human mind is not evolved for blank spaces. We don't deal with blank spaces very well. So neither the client nor the therapist is going to leave that area empty. That should be empty. So the therapist, in the ideal of psychotherapy and counseling, should be a Zen monk or a Zen nun, a perfectly still pool that reflects the full moon with no ripples. There's no breeze on the water. So if you look in the pool, you'll see the exact mirror image of the moon, perfectly represented. Okay, yeah, but really, who's like that? We're all humans. We all have ideas. We all have judgments. We all have prejudices. We all have trauma that informs the way we view the world, and we see things in a certain way. We apply spin. This is a microcosmic element of propaganda. So there's dogma there. There's an ideology there. I don't know what I would think. I haven't done coaching for a while. So with the same client sat in front of me saying, I'm 25 years old, and this is how I want my life to look. I don't know, but I would have a feeling about it because I'm human. I wouldn't feel nothing. And I would not feel like that person should live their life in some way. I'm just being honest with you. Like, that's how I sit, and I'd look at a person and they'd be telling me their problems, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to push them in any direction, but I had an opinion. Of course I did, because I'm also not a Zen aesthetic monk spending my days fasting and chanting and watching the leaves fall and counting my breaths, and then very occasionally in contact with like one human a week or something for an hour to perfectly reflect back what they're saying. So number one problem, there is no ideology that we're moving people towards. Is it good or is it bad? It's just a debate for another video. Number two problem, the second level problem, that is a twofold problem, is the twofold is this: the client and the therapist brings an ideology to that space. It's not an empty space. We claim it's an empty space, but it blatantly isn't. It blatantly isn't an empty space, nor can it be. So as I said in the last video, this is something that therapists and clients need to look at. You as a client have your expectations of a therapist, and you as a client have an idea of how life is supposed to be. And I've said this to clients in therapy, and I've said it here on the YouTube channel. I used to talk about it more in 2015, 2016. You have an idea of how your therapy is supposed to go. You have a prefabricated concept of how your healing process is supposed to go. And sometimes that gets in the effing way.